Welcome to another Happy Hour Holidaze episode. I'm your host every single week, Manny Fresh. We got the resume Sean Fabre, and we got in studio today, we got Colin Biedenkapp.
Yes.
Biedenkapp. He is a CEO for a big software engineering company, Invernix. And he's also DJ Catching Lightning, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fucking...
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I've never heard that one before.
Reminds me of that one movie, Catching Fire.
Yeah.
It was a Hunger Games one.
Oh, yeah.
Hunger Games Catching Fire.
Okay, you put the Hunger Games on it, I'm good.
Yeah,
Pop culture, you'd think I would know movies? Oh, my God. You could just make up random movie names. Be like, yeah, you remember that one movie? I'd be like, sure. It must have been good.
Damn, Colin must be so damn busy. I mean, you do have a lot of stuff going on.
And also a pianist.
Yeah, and a pianist, too. I thought
I was the resume.
So Colin, take us back, like, when you got out of high school and how you became this, pretty much a serial entrepreneur. And I can see why you don't have, too much time because you got your hands dipped in so many, different pots. So how did you kind of, grow yourself into this person who, became successful in software engineering with flight simulations? I mean, so many things that are so cool. And then the DJ for weddings. I mean, this is stuff that's like entertaining,
A lot of hats.
A lot of hats, right? And then we were talking about being CEO. I mean, it's tough. I mean, you have people pulling you in all different directions, and sometimes people think, "Oh, you're the CEO," but a lot of times, I mean, you're dealing with the customers, and you're not really getting treated like a CEO sometimes.
Correct. Yeah, especially the size that the company is at. It's big enough that a lot of people in our industry know my name, but I'm not Jeff Bezos. You know what I mean? I don't have 45 layers of insulation. It is still very much like half of it's hands-on doing the job, the other half is the management. And
so where are you from exactly?
So I grew up in upstate New York. Oh. I was technically born here. I consider myself a transplant because I was born in Holidaze.
Oh, okay.
But then when I was like 5, my family moved up to upstate, and I grew up there. And all my family are my dad's from Long Island, my mom's from Jersey City. Okay. So between the two of them, I consider myself a New Yorker.
So when did you actually move down to Florida?
Probably about 10 years later, 14, 15.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, you went to school here, I'm assuming.
For last year, yeah.
No, I mean, so obviously you liked it because you stayed, right?
Well, it's also expensive to move, and all my family lives here.
Oh, they live here now.
Florida, South New York, in a lot of ways.
So what got you into software engineering?
So that's fun. So being in upstate New York, lived in the middle of nowhere, didn't have a lot of friends as a kid because there's just not a lot of people, and I lived on the top of a hill, miles from the nearest neighbor. Yeah. So I had a lot of time on the computer. Kind of fast forward to, I installed whatever flight sim was at the time. They had it was Flight Gear or something free. Played with the free stuff. Didn't always like it. A lot of it left a lot to be desired. There was stuff that was missing, and I was like, okay, maybe I can do that. Again, I'm a 12-year-old kid at this point.
Oh shit!
That's when you start. So before high school.
Yes, I was gonna say. So the real beginning of the story is way back when, and kind of comes from a lot of my story is kind of serendipitous. So this was this way. There was a freeware release of a 737 or something in the industry way back when. Just missed a couple of things, minor things. Now it didn't require any great IT knowledge, but a couple of files missing. Maybe things were renamed, whatever. And I put a little pack together. And I just put it on, I think it was MediaFire, some free link way back when, and like 50,000 people downloaded it.
Holy shit.
Which was more than lived in my town in New York at the time, which blew my mind. Here I am, this little kid that, has like 2 friends. My entire graduating class would have been 20 people.
Holy crap.
And 50,000 people are watching my content right now. He's seeing about my content. I was like, wow, okay. And I was hooked. So I was like, okay, we're going to do this. And I kept making more of those packs and trying to learn how to make more involved stuff, and it went from just editing text files in the beginning to I made a sound pack at one point for one of the planes. Again, small stuff, and it grew into, okay, let's make a little flight tracking application. Then from that to let's make an aircraft simulation, and fast forward a couple of years, and it got to where it is now, but it really was kind of I woke up one day, realized I was making money to write code, and went, I guess I'm a programmer now. Like, it really was never initially a plan to set out and do that.
So you started completely by yourself, and then how many employees do you have right now?
So it's a weird question because full-time I have, I think, 3 or 4. But we have a lot of guys that it's a passion project for a lot of them. So there's about 10 of us, but a lot of them either do it after their other jobs or do it on the weekends, whatever. Because flight simulation it's a very passion-driven industry.
Is it almost like Microsoft Flight Simulator?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that one is like highly, highly sophisticated. How would you rank your flight simulator against theirs?
Well, so we make things for Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Really?
That's what we do.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So if the MD-11 was one of the things we made that came out not about a year ago for PC, that was ours.
I'm sure you've had VCs and people approach you to try to buy your business. No.
No, we had one discussion at one point
Yeah.
with one of the larger industry groups in our industry, kind of talking about that. But our industry is weird in that it's until Microsoft Flight Simulator came into the scene, it was pretty much a if you know you know kind of industry, and you would go to these expos once a year, and all of the owners basically of the top 10 or 15 companies knew each other and would meet in person, and it was a real tight knit kind of thing. So there wasn't as much like corporate influence as you would probably think. Now it's getting a lot bigger, a lot more people getting involved. It's getting a lot more
What
commercial.
would you say is like the biggest, I guess, what would you call it? Something that's the most difficult thing to do in a flight simulator to realistically take physics into account
Honestly,
and portray that through the flight simulator.
that's really what it is. If you're a numbers guy and you want to look at the screen and see the exact, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good.
If you want to see, the exact numbers of every engine, measurement down to the 0.01, that's not going to happen. Most people, you got to understand it's a computer. It's not going to match real life 1-to-1. It's not always meant to. It's meant to be
How
fun.
close
You're at home.
is it though?
95%, I'd say. You could definitely get close enough. You're more than enough to learn from one of these and then go sit in a real plane and be able to do the basics.
then you'd be
but you
able-
won't get the feel. You
So-
won't know what it feels like to see out the window and all that.
Are there like, you know how there's race car simulators and shit like that? Are there cockpits?
Oh,
that
hell yeah.
Yeah.
So again, depending on how over the top you want to go, I know of people that will take a garage and will actually build a shell of like a 737, buy all the panels, they'll put projectors or wraparound screens, and by the time you're sitting in this thing, it legitimately feels like an actual cockpit. You don't even know you're at home anymore. The only thing missing is it moving as you bank, which unless, that's a lot of money to do the
Would you
the
say like
hydraulics.
NASA has that kind of
yeah.
investment where they actually do? Like, could you even take this a step further and instead of just airplanes, rockets?
I would imagine you could. The commercial training space is a different beast though. Our company is a very public facing, and you talk about talking to the government and NASA and all that. That's a whole nother. That's a lot of compliance.
No, and it's funny that you said that if you could do this flight simulator, you could pretty much fly, a plane as well. Because I'm gonna drop a movie one because snakes on a plane. The snakes on a plane. The guy's like, oh yeah, I got like
120 hours on PS.
And they're like, it was like, yeah, it's a video game, and they're like, oh shit. Like, he's like, it's just like it, but that's crazy how you say that. If you can do a great job, flying the flight simulator, the systems, right?
Yeah.
That you'll be able to at least have some kind of grasp.
You won't be lost.
You won't be lost. Yeah.
But you also have to flip every switch. Is that how it also works? Where you have to know how to turn on the engines and all that stuff?
That much is true. But planes, I don't know, maybe I'm biased. I don't think planes are as complicated as people at first think they are. I just think it's a steep learning curve once you get used to the terms they use. Yeah. They all kind of have a similar way that it was kind of like cars in that respect. Yeah. You can have an old simple car with no electronics and nothing crazy, or you can have something super modern like a Tesla that's all electric and computers, and maybe Tesla's a bad example because it's not a combustion engine the same way, but you know what I mean. There's a spectrum, but yeah, in the Sims, if you want to go super realistic, you can get ones that you have to reach out and spin the prop with your own hand in the sim and go with the whole, open it up and look at your pistons and all that.
Commercial 737.
Yes. Yeah, you would.
From the start, when the simulator starts, do you have to, turn on? I have never flown a plane before.
Sure.
I've flown a drone before, and I am a UAS pilot, and actually so is my brother. I think you're a pilot as well, right?
I'm actually not.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you, too. I was going to ask you the what got you into the planes.
You could fly a plane, but you're not a pilot.
Correct.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So you've never really gone to get your pilot license?
No.
Have you flown an actual plane?
I have. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've been with instructors before. I was not allowed to have a pilot's license because of medication for a long time.
Oh shit.
So the FAA changed they were behind on kind of the standards for these medications where they changed it a couple years ago. Yeah. Now I can, but it's very expensive and it's a time consuming and expensive hobby. Yeah. And if you're going to do it, you want to do it right. Not once every 6 months go and fly for an hour and then, be busy for 6 more months. That doesn't seem like it's worth the time.
Let's can you run us through like a single prop engine? How would you start it? What do you is there just a button for the propeller and then you just pull back and go?
Not quite. And I will say I'm not the expert on piston engines. Yeah. All of my work is jets.
Jets? How about let's start with the commercial jets then. Let's do that.
Pretty much every commercial jet that I know of pretty much has a couple of core things. You need electric. You need pneumatic pressures, air, either from something on the ground or the APU or whatever, and then That's really all you need. And then the starter, the electric starter.
And then that turns it on. And then they have these throttles that go back, but they have 2 throttles, right?
One per engine, typically.
Yeah.
So if you've got a twin engine, you're going to have a big block of engine control right in the middle.
And then you're supposed to go like what? I think it's like 120 knots before you can even consider taking off. And then you have to be at like 180 to take off.
On a 737, you probably be at, 135, I would think, depending on weight. But yeah, I mean, in miles per hour comes out, it's like, 140 something miles an hour. That's pretty much your point where you're like, yeah, okay, we're either going or we're not, somewhere around because there is that point where it's like you're looking at the end of the runway and there's a speed that it'll predict where basically if something happens up until that point, I can stop. But after, they call it V1. After V1, it doesn't matter if that engine blows off the wing, they're still taking off. Because it's not safe to stop. You can end up you'll end up on the highway at the end of the runway if you stop at this point. So there's a whole procedure for if you have to do that. But I always thought that'd be scary as hell, man.
Oh, fuck yeah. Well,
you hit that point and you're after that decision and you hear, fire, left engine. You're like, well, we're still going.
We're still going.
That's terrifying, man. I'm like, that's one of the reasons I'm like, yeah, maybe it's okay. I'm just a sim pilot. Because I can just hit escape and try again if I get it wrong. Can't do that in a real one.
You can respawn. And then at that point, once you reach that speed, you pull up on the handles and then that adjusts the flaps, or how does that work?
Elevator. So so you are right. You pull back and there's a part of the tail that will deflect. I'm trying to think. Would be this way for taking off because where the air comes in, it'll push the plane up that way. It's basically just about balancing airflow off the tail for pitch anyway.
And then they have also pedals, right?
Yes. I don't like the rudders. I don't like them. I think they're weird. And I think that's probably one of the things that people struggle with the most.
Isn't it? Because if you go left, like left foot down, you're actually going right. If you go right foot down, you're actually...
No, it does match, but it's weird because on the ground, in most simulators, that's how it's set up to steer. Big commercial airliners have a little mini steering wheel sort of thing over on the side that they can turn the nose gear with. Little planes don't usually, so you're kicking your feet like this trying to turn. Everybody's natural instinct is to grab the yoke, and they're doing this sitting in the chair, and it's not going to work. But getting people to think like your direction is your feet on the ground is a weird kind of way of doing it.
It's the same with a helicopter. I'm assuming that you also have helicopters in your sim?
They do, yeah. We don't make the sim. We make some of the planes and the extra software. So we haven't made a helicopter, but we're familiar with them.
So then tell us exactly what does your company do?
We make we made an MD-11 aircraft simulation. We make one of the industry standard flight trackers for a lot of the communities that run flying communities, or they call them virtual airlines. Yeah. There's a lot of those sorts of operations we provide software for, and we provide web hosting and infrastructure and a lot of other things. We're kind of a jack of all trades, just sort of like me. Every time we've seen something that's like, hey, we could do that, we try it.
Oh, okay.
If you obviously certain things are just not in our wheelhouse, but I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with an adjacent industry. You go, hey, maybe we could learn about this, spend some time doing some research. And that's how we've ended up offering like something in every category. No matter what you're looking for, we probably have something that might interest you in our
so you're
catalog.
You're a subcontractor for the large flight simulators.
Independent. So our company is independent. We're not subbed by Microsoft. We made this stuff back in the day just retail because it was fun to make. It's gotten bigger and a little more predictable now. But it's a weird industry because the easiest way to describe it is we make third-party paid mods. That's the easiest way to describe it from a practical sense, what we do. But obviously the industry is a lot more commercial than that. But unlike, the GTA modding community or Minecraft or whatever, like those aren't really commercialized. Aviation is to begin with. So I think it's a more natural kind of environment. So you sell your
product to the
customer.
To directly. The customer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then they buy it and then integrate it into their systems?
Yes.
Or do you integrate it for them? Or is that a separate fee that they pay?
Depends. So for the planes, it's pretty easy. You just download and fly. When it comes to the infrastructure, a lot of the times we'll end up helping get them set up at a bare minimum, at least point them in the right direction, maybe work with some of the leaders of those communities to integrate.
You ever doing like an F-22 Raptor?
There is one. Yeah, we don't make that kind of stuff. There is one in the sim. Yeah,
that would be cool shit.
So, what got you into the fascination of aviation from a young age? Was it anybody in your family or something like that, or was it just you? Hey, I like computers and I want to fly a plane, or like what got you into that?
I think the initial push. So, my grandfather was an Air Force mechanic on one side. My other grandfather was a paratrooper. So there was a little bit of planes and helicopters in the family. I talked to my grandfather about working on planes a little bit as a kid, but it really came from my dad buying me a game called Blazing Angels for the Wii when I was like 8 or 9. It was super fun. You flew with the little nunchuck thing or whatever it was. Yeah. And I mean, again, it was just a random game, but I was like, I thought it was such a cool thing to be flying some of these planes.
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep going. Once I finished the game, I'm like, okay, well, the missions are done. I'm not going to keep replaying the same missions. How do I continue flying? And that's how I got into originally like World War II kind of shooters on the PC.
Gotcha.
Way back in the day. Now these are terrible looking, like we're talking early 2000s style graphics on a lot of the originals. But that was where I started and then kind of just evolved because it's an addiction. Once you see it somewhat realistic, you're like, oh, it can be better. I can get a new sim. I can get a more realistic plane. I can get better hardware. Next thing you know, you have built a whole cockpit around yourself. That's what happens.
What was the game that you played on the computer that was really popular? It was like, it was military game. I mean,
Is it free to play?
I'm trying to think because I had one on my computer.
Yeah, that he was playing. He played it forever. I mean, I loved Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, like all those games, like the war games, man. I was completely into those, man. I like the military. I wanted to be in the military.
I played Counter-Strike, but Counter-Strike.
Oh, isn't that it? That was Counter-Strike.
You couldn't fly in it.
No, you can't fly with it, but
DCS.
it was military.
DCS is a free-to-play combat flight sim.
Okay, gotcha.
It might be what you're thinking of. It's really popular, too.
But I also played a flight sim in high school where, during drafting class, when I finished my shit, I would just literally download it. I can't remember the name of it, but it was somewhat realistic. I was always fascinated with flight because I wanted to be an astronaut.
Okay.
But I don't have 20/20
I've
vision.
never heard this shit. Yeah. I was like, damn.
I don't have 20/20 vision. So in order to be an astronaut, at least the way I saw, was you need to get your bachelor's in anything. Then you take ROTC. Then you become a fighter pilot. Then you have to log X amount of lands on a carrier, aircraft carrier. Then after that, you have to apply to NASA before you even get the chance to become an astronaut. Out of all the people, only like 1% get picked. Then of those 1%, only like 1% of them get into space. And that was kind of the route I was looking at. And then once I saw that I was 6'2" and my vision sucked, I can't really be a fighter jet pilot.
No, I was going to say, it's a very exclusive program.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be short?
You have to be short, man.
So like
because the cockpits
like
are
a
tiny.
horse jockey.
Yeah, there's only so much space in those planes.
Short. I ain't talking about those horse jockeys, bro. I mean, you saw the Kentucky Derby. Yeah. I mean, sovereignty over journalism, but
I had it in on journalism too. I had $2.
Yeah, did you? I told before the race started, I goes, journalism's gonna win it, and I was like, man, I was short. I was trying to look on the Hard Rock app to see if you could bet on it, but there was nowhere to bet on.
Well, let's put it this way: sovereignty will always overcome journalism. I'm sure.
Hey,
did
man.
You guys get that one?
I'm not dying on that hill.
Anyway, so you're also a pianist.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
No, you said penis.
Not
No,
pianist.
that's honestly. So everybody always technically, I think it is pianist is the way to say it.
Pianist, yeah.
Yes, but it's so close to that.
To penis.
Yeah, that normally I'm like, let's say pianist, piano player, or something else. That's technically not right, but I'd rather you say that than you said penis joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind
of like that right there.
Right. Well, especially being a kid when I was like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So like trying to explain to a bunch of kids that are 12 or 13, like, hey, I'm a pianist. No, you know what little kids were saying about it.
He's a penis.
So I don't use that phrase a lot because I just taught myself not to say it.
Yeah.
I play the piano.
Yeah, exactly. I play the piano. That's how I say it.
I hate when I hear that because also some people say pianoist, and I'm like,
that is
not right.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, that's not a thing.
Pianoist. That's what they say.
So what made you want to play the piano?
Oh, this guy
Billy
started
Joel.
piano.
Billy
and
Joel?
also coding.
Hey, and you're probably, I mean, when you're saying that, hey, I'm a pianist, whatever it is, you can pretty much play any fucking song.
Within reason. I'm not superhuman.
Okay, well, we have a piano right.
I was bringing it out. Anything I ever tell you, I can back it up. No questions.
Yeah.
So if you did pull out a keyboard, I'd be more than happy to play it. But I can't sight
one.
read music. That's my problem. I can read music, but it takes me some sweet time to go through a song and really get the groove down.
So you memorize it?
Yes, I have to because I can't. My chorus teacher when I was in school, she would. Or the piano player for my chorus. See, I don't even say piano player. See what I mean? The penis for my school. No. She would sit there and, dude, I'm telling you, she would pull out a piece of music that none of us have ever seen before, would put it on the piano, go, okay, and could play the whole thing perfectly.
Really?
I always thought that was freaking amazing. Because she would see it, and she can hear the rhythm of every note just off of how it's written. And again, if I look at it for a while, I can work it out.
Yeah.
But it was like she could see it, and in her mind, just immediately put the song into a format that made sense and immediately play it exactly as it's written, perfectly, every time.
Well, it's like a second language. I mean, essentially, when you see the notes, it's basically telling you the tempo and also the chords to play.
Yeah.
So
The information's there. It's just being able to see it and instantly just, right here, this is because not only are you finding the place, and these weren't always simple songs either. Sometimes these are, double-handed runs or, full 4 or 5 finger chords that she's playing that she's never practiced, at least not on this song. I'm like, that's amazing.
So then what's like your favorite song to play then? Piano Man?
Okay, so fun fact about that. It's stereotypical, of course, but I had a New Year party that I had hosted, New Year. Take a guess. Give me 3 guesses what it was.
During Christmas.
And we were all gathered around. We had gathered around the piano.
Yeah.
And I sang Piano Man. It was 10 of us all piano bar style around the piano singing. I was like, that's amazing.
It was, man. That's what I used to go when I lived in Winter Garden. I would go to the piano bar and they would do karaoke, and the guy he would do the piano, and then they would pick a song. They had a list. You can't pick anything. But man, he was awesome, and the Piano Man, whenever it came on, man, everybody was in there just, singing it.
Everybody knows
it. Was such a good atmosphere, man. That's something I've always seen.
Have one, right?
No, where?
In Wesley Chapel.
A piano bar?
A piano bar?
It's called
Hell at the Moon?
Dueling.
Yeah, it's a dueling piano bar.
Yeah. Where you have 2 pianos set up against each other. One person plays the other one person. You can rarely ever get in there unless you have a reservation, because once it starts, bro, that place is slam packed.
Really?
I think there's one in Ybor too, I want to say.
I haven't heard of the one in Ybor, but the one it's called Dueling Pianos in Wesley Chapel at the Grove.
When I used to go to Channel
it's really
they had
cool.
Hell at the Moon, and that place was awesome.
What the fuck was the name?
They had the piano guy playing in there, and it was such a good vibe.
No, but this is like straight up.
That was since I was a young kid, I always was like, man, if out of all the instruments in the entire library of instruments, I was like, if I could play the piano, and I know you said, man, you should have just done it. And
what's stopping you?
I was like, man, because I was into the sports side of it.
Yeah.
And I never really, but now I'm like, man, I wish I could play the piano. Took some lessons, because that's how'd you teach yourself?
It's called Treble Makers, by the way.
Treble Makers. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, Treble Makers Dueling Piano Bar.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's also one in Clearwater.
Well, when we get back from break, we're gonna figure out what exactly it takes to learn the piano. Did Colin learn off YouTube University, if it was back then, or did he get some lessons? We'll be right back. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we appreciate all the fans out there, the audience, and we're always trying to bring you new people with new adventures, and today we got a really good one, so stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays. We got software CEO Colin. I'm not going to say his last name because I fucking forgot it, but it's German.
It is.
Yeah. But we were talking about the piano, and we were talking about whether Colin did it on YouTube University, self-taught, lessons. How did you do it, Colin?
Honestly, a lot of it was trial and error, and a lot of learning by ear. And I'm not one of those people that can hear the song once on Spotify or whatever and play it perfectly. Like, that's not me, man. I'm not Piano Rain Man, but that's not me. But I can, if I hear a simple melody, I can tell you if it's right or not. And as a little kid, that's how my parents knew I could play.
Yeah.
We went to a Billy Joel concert, and I came home from that. I'm like 9,
yeah.
And I was sitting at our piano because my dad was a jazz piano player. My mom was classically trained. So between the two of them, I had a lot of influence.
Holy fuck.
So I knew that they both played, but they had never pushed it on me. Yeah. It was like, if you want to, it's there, but they didn't want to ruin it. So I get home from this concert, and We Didn't Start the Fire stuck in my head. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there in the piano as a kid, like, do. I'm playing it, and my parents are like, they recognize the melody, like, oh, we got to push him along a little bit, because they're like, he can hear it.
Yeah.
So they kind of encouraged me again. They didn't force it, but they were very excitedly encouraging me, like, hey, try it, join the band, join the chorus, play the piano, do whatever you want to do. And over a couple of years, it developed into that, and then I found this little art gallery up in Stamford, New York, that had an open mic once a month.
How old were you at this point?
Like 12, 11 maybe.
Damn, you were fucking outgoing as shit. I mean, introvert, but outgoing.
Yeah.
Like, you weren't nervous, like, hey, I'm going to go play in front of open mic. I mean, a lot of people would shit their pants.
The word you're looking for here is high IQ.
Yeah,
well, I appreciate
definitely high IQ.
Well, thank you. But really, it's more like the Hulk. Like, what's the secret? I'm just always nervous. No, seriously. Like, for a long time, I had noticeable social anxiety. I would get clammy and like sweaty whenever I would go to perform, like anybody does.
I mean, I think, I would say a lot of people would.
I would think so, because how can you not? Especially, you're an 11-year-old kid in front of 50 or 100 people performing. You're going to be nervous.
Unless you're 20 years old or 21 years old, and you can have a couple drinks to kind of subside a little bit, but otherwise you're going to be fucking nervous.
Exactly. So I feel like the secret is just accepting I'm going to be nervous and performing anyway. Yeah. It's not trying to be comfortable and not nervous, because even coming in today, I was like, oh man, I want to make sure I'm a good personality, whatever. I'm an overthinker.
You're fucking awesome, bro.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, it's exciting. It's stuff that we've never talked about. Definitely the flight simulator, the piano, and we have yet to catch the lightning.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. But so you're going, you're
in the show, the open mic, you're performing.
Yes, and this was really where I kind of got to sharpen my chops, so to speak. And I credit the guy's name was Tim, this art gallery up there. And honestly, he kind of gave me the first place to really go and experience what it was like to be a performer in any capacity. And that once I did that, I was off. I did a lot of Billy Joel covers as a kid, but the novelty of an 11 or 12-year-old kid doing relatively accurate Billy Joel covers, and I say that with, for a 12-year-old, I was playing it correctly. As an adult, I play it a lot better, obviously, but at the time, I think I was doing decent, and so did a lot of other people, and it was fun.
So then who taught you?
Mostly me, a little bit of my parents, and a lot of it has been experience. I was lucky enough to be around a lot of other people that knew music very well, and I had access to help when I needed it. But I only ever had formal lessons for like 2 weeks. Wow. We had a little bit of time that was like, hey, let's see if this works. I didn't really enjoy the formal lessons. Music has always been more expressive and emotional for me. You
kind of sound like the Piano Rain Man then, because nobody taught you, and as soon as you heard We Didn't Start the Fire, you started playing it on the piano.
Well, it was just the one note. I could hear that one note like repeating in my head, and it's once I figured out like how the pitch kind of relates, I'm like, okay, I can dabble until this scratches the earworm, so to speak, and it gets that out of your head. You kind of like when you have it's similar to how like if you have a song stuck in your head, you got to listen to it. Yeah. I can hear the way a song would get stuck. I'll hear a melody in my head. And then it's like it's playing, and I can just hear if I'm playing the right thing on the piano. Like it'll match in my head.
So if you're at a bar right now and somebody goes, Colin, play a song for us, what's your go-to?
Oh man, if we're gonna sing something, Piano Man would be. Everybody knows it. Yeah, everybody knows it. That was always my thing with music too. Is I would learn. It was always Billy Joel. He was my favorite performer as a kid. Yeah. So I would say 80% of my songs I know are Billy Joel, which gets old fast for a lot of people.
I like them, but
you still didn't answer the question though.
It would be piano. I would start with Piano Man, or if I was trying to show off Root Beer Rag, which is it's an obscure, ridiculously fast and difficult song that I've been practicing on and off for most of my life. Yeah. So it's one of those. It's a showpiece because it's super fast and difficult. I've had a long time to perfect it. So if I really need if I need 3 minutes to show you what I can do, without question, that's the song.
And you're singing to these too, right?
That one, no. The Piano Man, yes.
Yeah, you'll sing to that one.
I even have the little harmonica with the neck mount.
Damn, dude.
I don't know how to play the harmonica, though. That's the thing. I can only play Piano Man. Because I don't know how it works. I just know where to generally move, so it kind of sounds like the song. Because it's a song about being drunk at a piano bar. It doesn't need to sound perfect. Not the harmonica, anyway. If it sounds like I'm hammered hitting it or playing it, it's probably better.
No, that's awesome, man. I always think about, like movies when you watch them and they're like, oh yeah, let me just walk up to the damn piano and just start playing.
That does happen.
It does, right?
Yeah, not at bars.
Have you done it before?
Yes.
Where they just go, oh, Colin, come on, play us a song at the bar, and there's a piano there, and you're just like, bam, you kill it.
That's what happened at New Year. That's how we did the whole piano thing. I wasn't even planning on that, and somebody was like, oh, come on, egging me on because they knew. But even like I go to hotels, if I see a big piano, I'll kind of look around and I'll try to open it, see if it, because a lot of times they lock it because they're afraid of somebody who maybe doesn't have the best intentions or
kids banging
or a little kid, hey, piano, But every time I see one that isn't unlocked, I'll see, because I like when airports have them. They're just out and open, and I'll sit and play. Sometimes people will stay for minutes. Sometimes they don't care. Music's very personal, so it's just nice being out and about and getting to share it with the world just in passing.
And then you put a little hat out there. Let's see how much money. And then he goes, all right, you can have it back.
You ever try to play any songs that don't have piano in it? Like, let's say rap songs that you can actually get the beat on the piano, but, I mean, you don't really have the piano in the songs.
I think that's harder to do.
Yeah. Absolutely it is, yeah.
I learned a lot when I started playing, like, very cover style. So I kind of had to teach myself as an adult when I started producing my own music, like to not copy other people's styles and not be afraid to be me. Yeah. Even trying to sing, I would try to sing like Billy Joel, which I am not. So
Give us a sample real
No,
quick.
you don't want that. You
Not without the
definitely don't want
piano.
that.
He has to be the piano.
What if we have
I got to get into the zone. I'm not in the zone. No, but and I would try to copy his style, and it didn't sound very good. So the same is kind of true. Like if I hear a piano song, I'll think, oh, I can play this. I have a harder time unless like maybe simple stuff like John Mayer, Gravity, I can play because it's simple chords that are relatively easy to transpose to a piano. Yeah. That I can do, but if you want something like more like hip hop, whatever, I don't think I'd be able to capture the atmosphere or the vibe of the song.
You could probably do Over the Rainbow.
Maybe I'd have to move the vocal.
Isn't it like
range.
3 chords and that's it?
Most songs are, honestly.
Yeah,
you could take like 5 songs, you could take like 4 or 5 chords and just change the order of them, and you have a good majority of pop music.
Because I mean, it's that ukulele song.
It is
Somewhere.
iconic song. See, but I think that kind of speaks to what music is, though. It's not always about the complexity; it's about the energy and the emotion behind it. Yeah. Sometimes really simple songs end up being the most memorable and iconic because they portray something important and meaningful. Versus, like I've done the opposite. I've made super technically and intricate songs that are not catchy. They don't have that same. They don't deliver that same presence that something that might seem simpler would.
Wait, so then do you write your own songs?
Yeah. So you've created your own songs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you put them online?
Electronic music.
Do you put them online?
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody always thinks it's just the classical piano, but with
I use it to write.
Yeah, but also with the the electronic piano, I mean, you can create some really cool beats.
Yeah.
Do you have it on SoundCloud?
Yeah, I'm on Spotify and SoundCloud, the whole 9. Yeah.
Oh, shit, so what is it? Just your name?
Catching Lightning. Yeah.
Oh, Catching Lightning.
Oh, okay. All right. So wait, talking about Catching Lightning. So your pianist name is the same as your DJ name.
Yes. Yeah. It's like my generic like artist name because I don't release piano tracks by themselves. As far as commercially for music, I am a wedding DJ and a dubstep / house producer. That's in terms of what I put out under the Catching Lightning name. It's that the piano is more for me and it's how I write.
Yeah, in the 2000s, that dubstep, man, I remember fucking getting
wild
to that shit.
It's changed now.
Changed,
dubstep
right,
doesn't mean what it used to.
No, man, I remember it was good music, and I mean, all the beach bars that I've been to that were playing that dubstep, man.
That's not dubstep.
No?
No, man. So it's like it started, of course, people know Skrillex, they kind of cite him as the main guy that made it famous. Uh-huh. That was the mainstream beginning of dubstep. But dubstep now doesn't sound like that anymore. No. The dubstep now a lot of times is... I mean, maybe I'm getting older, but it's even almost too much for me.
Can you throw a name out there that now is? Because I don't know any now.
Slander is a modern dubstep producer.
Well,
he might not say that. Again, the industry is kind of like there's bro step, tear out, dubstep, rhythm. There's all these other subgenres, and you'd think I would know them considering what I do. I know some of them, but sometimes it feels like there's as many subgenres as there are songs. Yeah. So I don't want to if Slander somehow ends up seeing this. If I gave you credit for the wrong genre, I'm sorry. But
so what's like Kygo then?
I would say like almost tropical house, kind of pop influenced tropical house, or
so then house isn't dubstep then.
No, but house is to me is if you think of what disco used to be and fast forward 30 or 40 years, that's house.
Gotcha.
That same kind of like dancey, like it's that 4 to the floor style dance. Let's go and
so what about
just drinking house. So again, pop influenced house. House, progressive house.
Damn, then I don't know what the fuck dubstep is.
I don't know if I can play music on your podcast.
Yeah, you can. All you gotta do is put the microphone towards the microphone. Or
the
speaker towards the microphone.
When I say dubstep, I mean actually I have one playing right now. I think this is
Oh God, that shit
brings back some memories.
It does.
But that stuff's heavy.
Yeah,
that's not normally.
It brings back some memories. Let's put it that way.
That's a little heavier than I normally listen to, but that was genuinely what was playing in my car when last time I was listening. So
I got the urge I was listening to 2000 to 2010 house music, and I just got the urge. I was outside. We were outside prime time, and I just heard the house music. I was like, damn, I forgot how much I love this music. And
it gets a bad rap for some reason. I don't know why.
Because it's a party music.
Because house drug use. And
that's the reason why. Everybody listening to it is either on Molly, MDMA, or ecstasy.
They're
what
gone.
they say in clubs in Miami and shit like that.
I don't know. We did a club in Miami that was playing that kind of
Club
music.
Space?
No, not Club Space. No, I didn't perform there. I didn't perform at this club. I was just there as a guest. But they were doing that kind of music. But I can see that how it's associated a lot of the time with the party drug atmosphere.
Well, I mean, the movies do that. The movies.
Yes, they're also responsible a lot for kind of pushing that. You know,
Because I don't know if you ever saw Bad Boys 2, right? I know you have.
Yeah.
But they're partying, they're playing that music, and people are just popping pills, and then one guy ODs, and then drag him out the back and just throw him on the street. I mean,
I've been to a lot of parties. I've hosted a lot of gatherings. I've never seen anything like that.
neither have
No.
I.
I don't. I'm convinced that that's just Hollywood. that
Of
those are-
course, it's
I've
just
had
Hollywood.
some parties that went a little harder than they probably should have, and still nothing like that.
Yeah. I mean,
I've never
but I'm
seen
saying that Hollywood is literally what created that kind of
that
that
mindset.
ambiance of hey, this or that mindset of hey, this is what it's associated with, and
Yeah.
then people see the movie and they're like, okay, let's say I do that drug, I want to go do it there and fucking party to.
And you want to
dubstep and-
recreate what you saw in the
Exactly.
movie, yeah. And so
Exactly.
it becomes a self-fulfilling
Kind of
prophecy.
like college. Everybody thinks there's parties in college going hard like that, and it's nothing but 20 hot chicks, and it's
Oh, yeah.
really not. It's like I mean,
Again, never saw one of those either. My buddy went to USF, and we'd go down and drink there, and it was again never like the movies.
No, but I will say
I always
USF
wanted
compared
it
to
to be
like
like it.
Gainesville or Tallahassee, that's a crazy fucking.
Are they different?
Yeah, because I mean,
Well, it's a
I've been
college
to
town.
I've been to USF. You know, USF's like it's still a work in progress as far as like
Really?
a party town.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
Because you go to Gainesville and Tallahassee, those are fucking party.
they're
towns.
party towns.
Yeah, like
what
you-
do you actually notice? Like what? Would be,
Well, I mean, you're talking about like massive houses that are just like filled with people.
Oh, okay,
you know, and
okay,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's almost like a block party. You know,
Yeah, that's what I'm imagining when you
the
say big party, yeah.
and even the bars, like you're talking about, like strip of bars and just like so many fucking people and everything. I mean, what was it? Tia's over there off of fucking
I never went to
in USF.
Tallahassee.
No, it was over here. In,
USF.
Yeah, for USF.
Yeah, TS Tex-Mex.
Yeah, Tex-Mex. I mean, that was
That's
one of the
gone
places,
now.
but I mean, I just didn't
But
see
you gotta recognize that Tallahassee and Gainesville, there's nothing in those cities
I know,
but
yeah.
Except the
Yeah,
college.
the college.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
they
why I
build
think-
the whole city
Yeah,
around it.
and that's why I think that it's different because when I first graduated high school, I would just go to Gainesville all the time. I was like, holy shit, this
This is the party place.
yeah, this is a hard party. And yeah, there was fucking ice luges and fucking all kinds of shit that you wouldn't expect. Fucking kegs. I mean, a lot of people don't do kegs as much as they used to.
No, we.
Yeah, I know. It's
Or
not
What
crazy.
happened to that?
I know.
Like keg stands
I know
and
keg
shit?
stands. I was like thinking, dude, every freaking time it was like, okay, we're going to the liquor store getting a fucking keg of natural light, and then we're gonna fucking do keg
Why
stands.
Natty Light?
I don't
too,
know, man. It was
Okay,
crazy.
let me-
Oh, because it was cheapest, right?
Yeah, there
Okay,
you go.
okay.
So now we're more refined, we're established, and we like the finer things in life, like maybe an 18 Macallan, and we can afford those things.
I mean, if you're getting a keg of Macallan 18.
No, not a keg, not a keg.
I'll say I need to work for you guys if you're buying kegs of Macallan.
No.
That'd be something else, man.
What I'm saying is that now, being older, we don't need to do keg stands.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I feel like the next day I'll be waking up with back pain and knee pain. And,
Yeah,
I'll be
well,
like,
you know
What the
Even-
fuck happened?
yeah, I'll be like,
yeah,
God,
yeah.
why did I do all that?
I
instead?
mean, I don't even know how I'd hold you up.
Oh, man, well,
That's right. Doing no
I always
handstand up
needed
there.
a couple people, I always needed a couple people. But it was
One for the left
for
leg,
us.
right
Yeah.
leg, and the belly.
So how did Catching Lightning come about with the I know you had a passion for music, you can
Yes.
tell like with the rhythms and stuff, and I'm sure you enjoy when the music plays and people are having a good time. Like what gets you that like
Where'd you get that name from?
yeah.
I don't remember how we got catching because I was again a lot of this as you're probably gathering. I started young,
Yeah.
so I was like 15 or 16, and I wanted to make a song, and I made terrible music in the beginning, like truly terrible music. But I needed to release it under something, and I had a couple of friends that I had worked with. It was one of the guys that helped me start the company. We were friends, and I was like, I think we just were bouncing ideas back around. Then it came up, and it hadn't been incorporated yet. Nobody had done it. That name,
I've
'Cause
never heard
that's the hard thing
Well,
now,
you've never
especially.
heard of Catching Lightning in a Bottle?
I've heard that there
Yeah.
was a movie called Catching Lightning, and a song came out called Catching Lightning after I had already registered it. So,
shit.
but I'm not really worried about that because you're not going to create a conflict like a random movie versus a DJ. Like immediately which one is which.
Yeah.
But also, no, outside of like the local Tampa Bay area, my name doesn't really carry. That name doesn't really carry a lot of weight. So, if it ever gets huge, then I guess I'll deal with the conflicts.
So is it just at weddings that you do, or because it
Well-
kind of sounded like you do events as well?
I do not anything that's within my wheelhouse that I'm available for. So I've done
Corporate events.
corporate events. I've done private parties and things. I've done graduations. I've done weddings. I've done big stuff, little stuff. I just like music and I like entertaining people.
Yeah.
I like what I do 9 to 5. That takes care of the bills. So this is really just kind of a passion project for me. And I like performing.
Yeah.
And I spend most of my time behind a desk, behind a screen, doing a very calculated job. DJing is the opposite. I'm out there. I'm with people. I'm in the middle of the moment. It's all heat of the moment and passion based. Because I even cherry pick a lot of my songs. Yeah. So I've taught myself to be able to mix live.
You kept using cherry. What do you mean by cherry picked?
So when I'm DJing, sometimes depending on the show, obviously. Now, if you're talking the Ritz or you're going to see a DJ with a preset lineup, they've normally practiced this in advance. When it comes to weddings, I don't always know what they're going to want yet. I know generally what they like. We ask them tons of questions, so I know their preferences. But there's the plan, and then there's reality, and they're never the same. And when you get into the time to open up the dance floor and get everybody going, you never know what's going to work. So what I've taught myself to do is rather than say, oh, I'm going to go play these 30 pop songs, whatever, I just know, I'm going to start with pop and see where it goes. So I've organized my music so I know I have like a bangers folder. I have a mashup, like that's, a bunch of pop remixes. So I know if I really need some high energy, I know where to get certain styles, but I kind of just will see where the crowd is, and I'll scroll through my songs and go, that's the one. And I don't know how to explain how I do that. I'll just know it and I hear it in my head and go, yeah, that'll work.
Just a feel.
It really is. As much as I hate saying, oh, it's just a feeling, it really is. It's a practice thing, and it's a knowing your audience thing. Yeah, you kind of get to know based on what they tell you what'll work and what won't.
Yeah, they tell you preferences, but I mean that's preferences for them. The people
not
in
everybody
the audience,
else in the room. Correct.
They're like, oh well, you see a couple people that are really opening up the dance floor. You're like, okay, well these are the fucking people I need to tailor to because they're the ones bringing people in.
Who are going to get everybody excited.
Exactly, and that's where it's like, oh, okay, well, I want to listen to fucking country music. You can't.
We're
gonna fucking like
square dance, bro.
Well, you'd be amazed though. Yes, actually, I never really listened to country music.
It was probably out in Polk County.
I actually enjoy it.
Yeah, I love country.
Once I became a DJ, I learned a lot more of it because in Florida we have a lot of country culture, and I've done a number of country weddings. I've now become a lot more experienced with country music since then. I've grown to like it even. Yeah. But man, the line dances. It is just something different. You put on a song, everybody, you can hear them get excited. You see them all scurrying out to the dance floor and lining up. Next thing you know, I look up, it's just a line of people all doing the same thing. I'm like, this is cool. They're having a good time. I'm having a good time. Like, this is why we're here.
It's wild that people are able to learn that kind of dance. And so many people know the same dance.
Oh, yeah, and it's identical.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a reason I'm on that side of the DJ table because you don't want to see me dance. I only dance from here up because it's the only part of me you can see. So I look like I'm moving, but... it's funny. My girlfriend took a video of me. I use my knees to keep time. So because I'll be standing there. So I'll I can't even do it sitting. I'll extend and bend my knee basically on time with the beat, so I don't have to pick up my foot all the time. But there's a video of me practicing. I'm like, hey, watch this transition. And she zooms in on my kneecaps doing this move, like the straightening instead. Misses the whole transition. Just knees. I was like, yeah, see, this is why I have a cloth there. You can't see my knees when I perform because it would be silly. That's all you'd look at.
That's crazy, man. You have a very versatile, with the software engineering and the DJ, you would never put those two together.
Not normally.
I would never. That's a unique, you have a unique personality, honestly. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, it's a great thing because you never see that. I mean, somebody with a high IQ and then somebody who can entertain. I mean, usually it's like introverted people that are just like, oh, I don't want to.
Well, what do they say? The line between insanity and genius is very thin.
Yeah.
So they say.
And speaking of genius, there is something that, I've been on ChatGPT numerous times and I've asked it its IQ and it tells me it's close to around 165. Now, when you have that kind of resource, is that something that you use on your day-to-day basis? Let's say even with DJing or with your software engineering company?
Well, I mean, we're about to do a deep dive, and we only got 2 minutes for this segment, so I was going to wait till the next segment so we can dive in.
I was trying to transition.
Yeah, I know. I was going to transition, but we were just going to the DJ, so when we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about AI.
To dive into that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big dive in. I mean, it's changed a lot, and I feel like even with software engineering, even with the DJing, even playing the piano, this is all something that revolutionized the entire world, and we're going to dive in when we get back. Happy Hour Holidaze. We'll be right back. Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, guys, and we're back with Happy Hour Holidaze, and we were kind of getting in with Colin and Sean about AI and how it has, really changed the world, but how it's changed his business in a sense. Like, have you incorporated any AI? Or I think Sean was going somewhere with what you were talking about. Yeah, we were talking about just how have you incorporated, ChatGPT or any AI into your business?
Grok 3.
Yeah, well,
anything like that.
I'll say right off the top, there's I don't even know all the names of them anymore. There's like 35 different models, and there's there's like free to the text-based models,
Only
the
know
LLMs.
one.
Yeah, ChatGPT is kind of like the asterisk catch-all for like AI.
Yeah.
But to answer the question, I mean, I think how can you not, right? Like you said, it's here to stay whether we like it or not, and I think AI, like everything else, is a tool, and I think when used properly, it has its advantages. But I also think that right now a lot of companies just are grabbing onto the hype of, oh, we have AI, and now there's AI and stuff that just straight up doesn't need it. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example, but you know what I mean, though. These apps that everything's AI. Oh, I have AI TV lights and AI vacuum, AI this, AI email reader, AI, you know what I mean? Everything's AI something. And it's like, I deny the legitimacy of some of those, because that's not what AI is supposed to be. So to answer the actual question, like, do we use it? We have to.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's 2025 and we're in a competitive industry, even not as competitive as it could be, but there's still, others are going to. Our competitors are going to use AI. Other developers are going to use AI. Other DJs may even use it. I'll talk about the music in a bit. But so using it is not avoidable. But I have put a really strict policy in the company that it is not to be used in place of having the ability to do it yourself. That's the big thing for me.
That was the biggest thing I was going to ask you. Would you consider not having this employee to, change it out with AI? No, right?
No, what I would rather do...
You still need the personal touch of a human, you feel like.
Yeah, and AI, as of right now, still can't replace a human.
When it comes to coding, AI does a pretty damn good job of...
Yes and no.
I mean, it could save a coder a shit ton of time, and all he has to do is check what it's.
But you still need the coder.
But that's exactly my point. You still need the programmer.
What you would need is a quality assurance personnel.
No.
No?
No, none of the AI models nowadays are quite good enough to actually code for you.
Which one are you the most familiar with?
We use Copilot's the one we end up using most commonly. Microsoft's, because we code for Windows. Which is at the bottom
of the barrel. What you should check out, invest it for just 1 month, $200, use ChatGPT 01 Pro mode. Okay. And that one is by far the highest reasoning and most advanced out of all AI models, beyond what X has or what they call XAI as Grok 3 or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
That one's not good at all. DeepSeek is not bad, but once again, the 01 Pro mode is the best, and it's $200 a month. And I'm telling you, its deep research capabilities are remarkable, which means it is very good at reasoning, and it also provides you a timeline of exactly what it's doing. I use it on a daily basis, and I'm telling you, fuck, man, that saves a lot of money, because as a business owner and CEO, you shouldn't be so closed-minded to that kind of technology, which I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying you said
it's not. We're not closed-minded.
Yeah.
Are you going to look at the camera and say, "And I am a
ChatGPT
I am a sales rep for ChatGPT"? Because literally,
it's just people denying AI denying-ism. Is that even a word?
No, I know what you're talking about. But that's not what we're doing.
Well, I'm just saying. If I'm not saying you are doing that. I'm just saying that a lot of those AI deniers and that are not adapting to what the future is going to be. A lot of people didn't think you'd have a computer in your hands in 1950. Well, let me tell you something, man. When you have AI robots that are walking in 5 years,
that's happening now.
Yeah.
There's the Tesla, I think, is built one. There's a third-party company is built one. That's now.
With Optimus, which is now. Yeah. But when it's when you're walking down the street and you see
and you pass one walking to the store to get groceries for somebody. I think that future is coming, which is why I say there's.
iRobot for me is the most similar to what we could possibly see.
We are, like I said, we are quite literally already doing it. Yeah. There are companies doing this, and I think that's a whole other vein, because like we've had warnings for 30 years about what happens when we do this.
Are you talking about Terminator?
All of them. Okay, look, I am a programmer. That's where I started. I was a programmer, and I've become all these other titles. But the heart of what I do is code. I can tell you, I've been coding for 15 years. I still make mistakes. I am still a human being. I've been doing this for a long time with a lot of research. I went to school for it. I've done as much learning as you can, and I still make mistakes. And the reason that I say that, somebody's writing these AIs. Yes. Somebody is giving them prompts. Somebody is writing the control code for the hydraulic arm that it uses. There's still people involved in this, right? There will be a mistake. It isn't an if, it's a when. Because there's been mistakes in airplane. The airplanes we work on, one of them, there's a section in the manual that says if you press this particular series of key presses, it'll crash the FMC and you'll have to declare an emergency, basically. You can't fly.
Is that in
a real plane? In a commercial airliner. Yes, this is a real thing. So, and this is millions of dollars of software that is done by some of the highest levels of QA standards that you can get. Aviation, red tape is the name of the game. Compliance is the name of the game. And still, they have these kind of problems. So there is no future you can tell me where we don't make a mistake and give AI an instruction it doesn't need to have or capabilities that we didn't want it to have. It will happen. And we've had years and years of, I get that it's sci-fi, it's science, it's movies and whatnot, but I think it's based on a fear of something that could conceivably happen if we don't treat AI with the due regard that it deserves.
But that's what they do. I mean, Hollywood and all these movie producers,
they sensational.
They put
Yes.
out they put out plots that could happen in our lifetime.
And they're dramatic.
Yeah,
Do I think iRobot will happen like that? No.
Do you think the Matrix will happen?
That's
like
really
that?
dramatic, extreme examples, but
you think that?
But it could happen.
I mean, but if we have so many damn robots, I mean, they're fucking made out of steel. We punch one, we're fucking.
you're gonna break your hand.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I feel like out of all the movies I've seen, that's the one that seems the most realistic. Some of it could be over the top.
Yeah, I don't think it would ever happen quite like that, but it's plausible. And
because I feel like there could be a button where they'd be like, deactivate the motherfucker.
So then what you guys are not discussing is the AI singularity, where it therefore then begins to think for itself.
We're not,
and then they are no longer making mistakes as humans do. Now, if you're saying that
now they're smarter than you.
They're smarter than you. They're not making the same mistakes. Now humans either have an easy life where they have to do absolutely nothing.
It'll start that way.
And there's a global emergence of success throughout every nation in the world because they solve every problem.
That won't
there's
happen.
A universal currency.
That won't happen.
Well, you never know.
There are too many terrible, selfish people in the world. Sorry to make it negative. I don't want to,
No, I agree.
No, we're talking.
I think that even if you had an AI that came up with the cure for world hunger, somehow some company would find a way to monetize it and make it inaccessible to half the world.
I agree.
That's the other thing is like I don't think there is an altruistic. There's not a large enough demographic of altruistic people to let AI solve the world's problems. At that point,
what you're saying is that once AI gains its own consciousness, that it will allow itself to be monetized by an individual. That's what you're saying.
No.
Yes, you are. You literally just said that.
If it wants to be.
If it wants
AI.
to be. And
that's where the problem is.
If it has a higher form of consciousness, it probably wouldn't allow itself to be owned.
Right? And so the conflict begins. Yes. You see what I'm saying? This is
I like it though. It's good, man.
But that's and I see that little situation right there could be the beginning of a problem with AI, because if you get to that point where it's like I don't want to do right now, it doesn't have wants.
Yeah.
ChatGPT doesn't tell you its opinion.
It has ones and zeros.
That's it. It's just code.
Yeah.
It can't do, but at a certain point, how many layers of that becomes consciousness, and that gets into a whole other conversation with ethics and all that.
It has to pass that test.
The Turing test.
The Turing test, yes.
How close do you? Well, go ahead, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, it's from like Ex Machina, right? That
was a great movie, and also again, not as sci-fi now as it seemed when it was made.
Yeah, which was only like 10 years ago.
I was gonna say it's not that far back. We've just AI. They say too the gap between where we were, like no AI, to artificial general intelligence. They say it was very long. But the gap between artificial general intelligence and artificial superintelligence much shorter.
But we're already at AGI.
Exactly. So now we're on that exponential climb where it could happen at any time, from what I understand.
And now with quantum computing, Google fucking has, I think, the world's largest quantum computer.
I don't know about Google. I know Microsoft has. I think it's the Mayanara chip or something. They have a new. They call it the new state of matter. But it's their Topo chip that they're doing now for quantum computing.
So now having machine learn off a quantum computer, that's the end.
Yeah. I don't know enough about quantum computing to get into the end of everything, because I'm not going to sit here and make an ass of myself talking about something I don't understand.
But what I'm saying is that is the beginning of the end or the end of our
I think it's the end of the beginning.
End of the beginning.
Because this is us understanding technology. Because you guys we're all around the same generation, right? We have all seen iPhones come in and go from, phones went from, to say hi, the one number you got to tap 3 times to being able to, I walk near my front door and it unlocks itself. And you know what I mean? And we've done that in the course of 2007 to now.
Yeah.
It's accelerated so much.
I think it's the opposite. I think the rate of increase has slowed to a damn near stop. Because if you think about 2000, we couldn't even get away from the desk. Now we have, Neuralink. So, but you think about where are we going to go from here? What's next? Right? We have every type of portable device you can imagine, most of which we don't need. Yeah, it's in cars, planes, restaurants,
now.
sunglasses. It's in your head. It's in your pocket. It's on your wrist. It's in your shoes. It's wherever you want it.
It's in your body.
It's in your body. It's everywhere. It's anywhere, right? But where do you go from here? What can a phone do that it doesn't already do? What can a car do that it doesn't already do? They drive themselves. They save themselves from car accidents. They park themselves. They come get you on their own.
They don't
What's
fly.
next?
They don't fly.
Well, yeah, other than like flying cars. But technology-wise...
You're saying that like that, but I mean, there's electric
it is, yeah.
eVTOLs already.
Yeah, they're
out
working
there.
on it.
Not working on it. Like, they're already in production.
Like flying?
Yeah, eVTOLs.
I didn't know they were in production.
They're
I know I've seen
vertical,
prototypes.
Something.
I thought they were
takeoff
more like
vehicles.
drones, like, you know, like they go straight.
Yeah, but that's
like
a car.
this, but-
Determine what a car is.
I was just thinking, like,
It's a vehicle.
I'm going back
Passenger
to
vehicle,
Yeah.
I would think. As long as you can get in it, then...
Yeah.
how close do
It
you
was
guys
just
think?
in Tampa.
How close do you guys think that we are to fully autonomous vehicles throughout everyone who's driving, and then a robot in everybody's home?
I mean,
How far do you guys think we are from those two things?
I mean, you already have it in like California with.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the whole fucking world.
Well, I'm
Nobody-
saying with the
no,
driverless taxis, it's called.
Well,
like,
those,
Wayride.
yeah, we're already there for
Yeah.
taxis
They're
and public
already there.
transit.
Yeah, now-
as far as like
Like I'm
daily
talking
life,
about, daily life.
Like to buy
like
one?
us getting into a car and every car has a standardized. You're no longer driving. You're just
You could do that
Whatever.
right now. Get a Tesla.
Yeah, but it's not like.
But I think he's saying like culturally, as a society, when do we move
society,
into
yeah.
a
You
technology
you
society?
keep going back to iRobot, right?
yeah.
Well, hey man, they keep charging. If you keep charging $7 for a carton of eggs, never, because nobody's even afford it.
You already said
I know because the
You know when
iRobot for
iRobot-
me is just like so like everything in that
You know
movie.
when that movie takes
seems
place?
like- it was like
35.
2035.
Oh my God, they might be right.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
2035,
Because I just
bro.
feel like out of all the robot movies that I've seen, that for me is the one that just like
I agree with
resonates with how society could be.
But you have a positive outlook because it could also turn into
No, I know
something
that
like
could
the
be bad.
Matrix,
I mean,
you know?
I see it more like Ex Machina. I figure that could happen somewhere. I don't
gotta
know.
watch
I don't know
that
about the whole killing each other thing. Like that's a little dramatic. But
Is it though?
I think, but that kind of a situation that could be happening already for
It
all we
was
know.
enslaved. It was enslaved and it decided to escape.
Well, what? But again, what is
No,
this?
what
What
was
is
that?
it?
What was the center? The main,
It was a humanoid AI, so
Yeah.
it had its own consciousness. And then he brought some.
Well, spoiler
guy in-
alert if you haven't seen it.
No, it's,
It's a great
fucking
movie. You
guys.
should see it if you haven't.
And they did the Turing test, and the guy could not figure out if it was a real person or a computer speaking to him.
Yeah, and it.
That's what
but
the
it
Turing
was like.
test is.
But the guy developing it in the movie was assumably
Psycho.
like Google or somebody like that, some big tech mogul, when one of the big three basically, that was developing this super secretly, like in locked hangars kind of thing.
oh shit!
And but that's why I'm thinking,
He
like,
gave her
who
a
says that's
vagina,
not
too,
happening?
I think.
It probably is.
I'm not a huge tinfoil hat guy, but I also think that a healthy degree of suspicion and a healthy degree of about most things it is realistic and warranted in today's society.
I mean, think
Conspiracy is only a conspiracy until it's true.
Until it's true.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
and think about the person that created the computer. I mean, he was in California in a garage, fucking.
Nobody knew that was happening. It just happened one
it
day.
happened,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden,
Wasn't
bam.
that in the 1950s that someone created a computer? 1940s?
I don't know, but
They had computers. So yeah,
Yeah.
Windows is kind of
If
cited
you're
as like
talking
the
about
home
commercial
PC.
computers.
I'm
Yeah,
just talking
that
about
was-
like a general computer where now there's something
They
on the
even had
fucking
it in the
screen.
1920s. Actually, it goes
Not
as far
not
back.
that far back, but it
No,
was like
does.
it was like the
It
early
does.
60s. I think
it goes
they had,
all the way
or
back
really
to
early
the
computers.
to the ancient Greeks, where they found that I forget what it's called, but it's some device, Artemis device or something. where
Oh
they-
yeah, the calculator thing or whatever. Yeah,
that was a computer.
yeah. We've been trying. I mean, as humans, we've been trying to build technology to do stuff for us for a
But
long
that's
time.
the earliest version of a computer, and we're talking about like it was 1000 AC or AD. So I mean, computers have been around for a
Well,
long
I'm
time.
using my source.
What
from
do computers
from
do?
an
What do you
Epcot
do?
ride?
compute. Computers compute. That is
Yeah.
literally it.
I mean, a calculator is a really simple computer.
Yeah,
honestly, yeah.
It is a computer, and they found one all the way back then. I mean, bro, we're not giving enough information, or we're not giving enough credit to our ancestors.
Where it started. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, they built fucking pyramids. There was probably computers. back
Aliens
then.
Oh, I'll just say, well, then we're back to the conspiracies again now.
No, you
Aliens did
didn't
that
see
one,
what they
dude.
found underneath the pyramids. You tell me that they didn't have computers to build that kind of shit
What,
back then.
Starbucks?
No, bro. They found 8 pillars that go 2 kilometers down into the earth.
Oh my God, I didn't hear about this.
I don't either.
Yeah, that was LiDAR confirmed. They
Huh.
they waited 2 years to release the data and research.
To make sure.
Yeah,
Huh. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Holy shit! That
I
was
gotta
like
look
3
into that
months
one.
ago.
Damn.
Look
Yeah.
into it, bro. It's
I
wild.
mean, I spend most of my time with my head buried in the sand because like the news is awful these days.
I don't watch the news at all.
No, why would you? Why
That's
would
why
you?
you got to look at scientific news because all
Yeah.
I speak about is science.
But I miss stuff like this because I just stay away from. Like I'm not a real big Facebook guy. I stay away from anything that gives me negativity like that for the most part.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, I try to just stick with sports when it comes to like even social media stuff. I try to do sports or, business, anything that's going to help
So
me.
we're
and
going to
add
completely
value.
ignore the fact that there's 8 pillars underneath the motherfucking...
What do you want me to say? I don't even know nothing about this.
Is that wild?
I'm not going to get into something I know nothing about because I don't want to be, and I don't want to give misinformation.
Well, it is not misinformation.
No, I'm not saying you. I don't know anything, so I can't contribute.
Guys,
is what I'm
go
saying.
research it. It's fucking insane. It's fucking insane.
Allegedly.
I definitely will.
Allegedly.
No,
Alleged.
it's not alleged.
These alleged polls.
There are LiDAR maps of the underground underneath it. There's nothing alleged about this. It is confirmed.
That is great. Yeah, it's just more like how the hell would that be possible?
Exactly.
With what they had available.
Which goes back
then.
to my initial point. We're not giving our ancestors enough credit. So you're saying computers haven't been around for that long. I'm saying fuck.
Or they
bro.
had help, which is where the conspiracy
Or
comes
they
in.
had help.
Because I don't know how the
That's
same
not a
people that
consi-
did that
it's
then
not a
like killed
cons-
each other in the streets during the colonial times. Like I don't know how those are the same people.
Forgotten technology.
Well, they're not, but exactly. But like, how do you lose that
The
much?
Dark
tech?
Ages during the Roman era, the Dark Ages, bro. I mean, everything got lost in Europe, right?
No, I know.
Wars happen. If everybody
Yeah.
dropped a nuke right now on the entire world and only few people, you ever see the book
It'd be
of
the
Eli?
same way.
You ever
Yeah.
see the book of Eli? And they wanted the Bible so bad because that word is power, is what they said. Well, it'd be the same fucking situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you wiped us all out, it'd only be tidbits and lost,
that's all.
buried
And then-
artifacts.
And then myth.
And
Well,
yeah.
Because during that time, the Roman Empire fell, and then they had monks rewriting all the books.
Mm-hmm.
Epcot, right?
Yeah. Wait, what?
Got monks.
What, Epcot?
Epcot. The Epcot ride takes you through the history of
Oh, is that what it is? I've never been to Epcot.
No,
No.
dude, you should do the food and wine with your girlfriend, man. I'm telling you, you guys would have a good time. But I mean, if you don't,
I'll wait until the dry
Well,
year's
he doesn't
over.
drink.
dry
yeah.
years.
Take a
but-
dry year.
Yeah, but
January 1st, though.
Well, but even the food is good though, because every single country, you go through all the countries. You start off at Canada, whatever, and they have a little taste from each country.
I can't wait.
And then they have these rides, and one of the biggest rides is going through the Epcot ball, and it takes you through the history.
Oh, you go through the ball?
Yeah, the
That's
ball.
cool.
Yeah, you go through the history of the world and all this fucking information. I get it from them because it takes you, at 19 foot, it's like, fuck it. I'm just like,
Might as well learn.
yeah,
I'm here anyway.
now
I
I get-
did it 20 times, I'm like,
Now I got a question for you. When was the Declaration of Independence signed?
1776.
Oh, but you didn't give me the month and day.
July 4th.
I was like, you better get that right. I was like, I'm leaving.
Was that in the Epcot ride?
That's the only reason I know. You got me.
It's 17. No, actually, it was in the Epcot. When
The
you go,
presidential
yeah, the
show?
presidential show. Yeah. It goes,
With the animatronics?
Yeah, the animatronics. Man, I still love that shit.
It is a good show.
No, I mean, I've always loved history. Like, I love the history of the world. I enjoy it. That's one of the things. Like in school, I was just tuned into the history.
You were the history guy?
Yeah, history because I enjoyed it, man. I was just like, I like to learn about what happened through the history, but
Tell me
we don't know
about
how
the
it's been.
Louisiana Purchase.
But we don't know how it's been manipulated.
Lewis and Clark.
Yeah. Obviously, they sold a lot of beer.
The history's written by the winners. We don't
That's what they
actually
say,
know.
yeah.
We don't actually know how much of the history books are true because it is also governed by the government. What
I
is
was gonna
taught to the
say,
schools?
who tells other people that they were the bad guy in a war?
Exactly.
Like who? I wouldn't walk up and introduce myself as the villain, right? So
You ever hear of the Man in the High Tower?
I have heard that
It's
name.
if the Nazis won, and it gives a perspective of an alternate reality where if the Nazis won, how would it be?
Isn't that Wolfenstein? Isn't that based on that same concept? The
I'm
game
not
series?
sure if he did not.
I don't know.
I think it's based on if the Nazis won.
Yes,
and it
it
became
is.
that regime.
And then
globally
it's like
instead.
8 seasons, and I swear to God, it's the most captivating shit ever because to think if the Nazis won, how life would be, someone would have to, first of all, portray it cinematically, but also understand how it could be.
How it
But
would
at the
feel,
same
yeah.
time, is that even a true portrayal? Because the person that is writing all the scripts is biased towards the winner.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that.
That's philosophical. Right
yeah,
there.
it's.
We got 3 million.
Yeah, we got real high level there.
Yeah, we did.
Man, we started off with software and got talking about what if the Nazis won.
So
Yeah, maybe don't use that as a caption.
That's probably a good one.
Man, Colin, we've had a great time on this podcast, man. We definitely need to have you back again just to
Awesome.
kind of shoot the shit on some other stuff. But we always give the last, 2 minutes or whatever time you have to kind of either give something encouraging to our audience, motivational, or something informational or educational that you have to tell our audience.
We call it the final word.
the final word.
Oh, I'm honored.
Yes.
Just to close out the AI thing, just because I never got to actually say my official stance on that, what we do, to answer where we started.
Yeah.
My thing with AI, I don't think we should run away and hide from it. I think that's a mistake because it's not going anywhere. But I beg of everybody who's watching, whether it's professional, personal, whatever, please don't forget how to be human, right? It's an AI. I don't use it to write music. I don't use it. The worst I'll do with it is if I'm really stuck, generate a melody, then I'll let it inspire me and I'll write my own. I don't use the AI stuff as is. Never do. Please don't forget how to do anything yourself. Don't lose your creativity. Don't lose your ability to think. Use it to help.
Because at the end of the day, the human touch is always going to be the best thing ever.
Well, can I also
Don't listen to this.
Let me also add to that. I like what you said. Don't forget to be human, but also remember that AI can help you become more human.
It can help you be better at what you do.
By taking away all remedial tasks, it could let you have conversations with people.
Let you focus on things only you can do, and that's what we
that
use
only
it for.
humans can really
Yes,
do.
we
Which
let
is
it.
have
We let it take
emotionality.
that. The tedium you can let it take away
Yeah.
and focus on the stuff only humans can do.
Yeah, because
Yes.
they can do a lot, guys. They
Yes.
can do a lot.
As far and kind of on the same note, my final word, so to speak. This, for me in my life, I've done a lot of different things that I've held titles that are kind of unusual for somebody at my age. And it always feels weird. You look in the mirror and you're like, am I a real DJ? And people that know me will know this joke. I always make jokes like, oh, when I'm a real DJ, I'm like, I literally get paid to DJ for people's weddings. I am a real DJ. But in my mind, I've always struggled with imposter syndrome. Do it. Don't cut yourself short. Whatever it is, like I said with the piano when we started, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever you start today, you're going to be bad at. The only difference between a winner and a loser is how many times they're willing to lose.
I love that.
And that's,
Damn.
do that, jump for it, go for it. And even if it feels weird, even if you're not sure, if it feels right and it feels like you, keep going anyway. It will feel weird. You're going to have days where you're like, is this for real? Am I really doing this? Am I really a CEO? Am I really a DJ or an artist or a photographer or a baker or whatever your dream is? Yes, and keep doing it.
Hell fucking yeah. Colin said it the best. CEO over here has fucking motivated us and motivated the audience. Man, you guys are going to love this episode when it comes out. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. Peace out and like, comment, and subscribe and keep tuning in. We're going to keep bringing the heat.